We want to know the very latest in technology. Afternoon, Matt.
Good afternoon.
How are you? All right.
I'm good, thanks.
Yeah, I always get the sense you don't really like that music, Matt.
No, I love it. It's
good for you.
No, it makes my day.
Yeah, good for you. Now, this is going to be about the next generation of mobile phone cameras. There is, I can remember a few years back, everybody said, "Oh, 4K, that's you've got to go 4K." Now that day is over. Now it's 8K, and I'm wondering,
Yes.
Matt, there must be a point at which your eyes are not going to be able to tell any difference.
I think it's yes. I think we're past that point. If we were looking at TVs from 10 feet away, I believe.
Yeah.
I think they call it the 10 feet away. This is really about the next generation of televisions that we're all going to be embracing in the next couple of years, next few years, which are going to be 8K screens.
Right.
And then there'll be broadcast at 8K. I guess these would be large screens. So when you get a very, very big screen, if you're close to it, you can see the pixels and things like that on it. But yeah, it's all about high definition, ultra high definition, and HDR, which is this high dynamic range color schemes.
Well, I think that's more of the innovation here. I mean, I have people round and I get all, look, 4K, what do you think? Well, really? Can't tell any difference. And that bothers me immensely. But you're right. I think HDR is the bigger story here because that lends itself to a far more natural picture, doesn't it?
That's right. It's HDR, high dynamic range, that there are now mobile phone cameras which can record in 4K at HDR. So if you have a display which supports the HDR color range, then you will see a difference, a much deeper, like you say, richer colors, more natural colors than what we're used to, although we probably think we are already getting them.
Well, it's interesting because
also,
it's keen. I'm keen to explain the HDR thing because I think it's fundamentally what the next generation of telly should be all about. Because some of the best cameras we have are at around about, I think it's 18, 19 points or stops of HDR. Our eyes are incredibly good at that, which is why when you take a photo indoors, the window will be kind of blown out completely. But if you do the same thing with your eyes can make all those adjustments. And that is why our eyes are still considerably better than any camera yet available.
Yes, the older cameras which took HDR photos, what they'd actually do is take 3 to 5 photographs at different exposures.
Yes,
and then afterwards combine that.
You stitch them together.
One. Whereas what this is doing here is because it's video, it can't do that because it would take too long. So it's doing it live, which is quite incredible, really, the technology behind it. But so the HDR, 4K, we were talking about displays really, but it's what the display is also made from. Whereas many phones have been using LCD or LCD type screens, whereas now there's a move to AMOLED, which is active matrix organic light emitting diode, which means that it only lights up on an LCD screen, the screen will light up the whole screen is lit. But on an AMOLED screen, if it's black, they don't get lit at all. So you get deeper blacks and again richer colours. So these things are coming together.
LEDs have to fake black, don't they?
LCDs do, because they're lit.
Fake the black.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so it's always lit. Whereas and AMOLED, because it's only lighting the pixels you need, it's also better with power consumption because it's not having to light the whole screen the whole time. So that's good. Where you've got Sony, who've already had a couple of mobile phones with 4K screens themselves. I've got one, and it's really good. It's a really beautifully sharp picture on there if you can find 4K HDR video which isn't over compressed. What's going to happen as well with these cameras is that they're going to have the rumor is Samsung with their new S20, which is their 20th anniversary, I think, amazingly, or 20th phone. It will have a 108 megapixel sensor on it, which is ridiculous. But that means so much more detail will come through as well. So you'll be able to take pictures at very, very low light, and because it's got such a large sensor, it will be able to pull in whatever light it has. Sony apparently are going to have a periscope camera in their new device, which has already been done by Huawei. So it's a bit like a periscope, where you have light coming into a lens on the screen. Yeah. It's then reflected down the length of the phone into another sensor and bounced back again. But it goes through different lenses, and thus you can get 50 times zoom on a very, very flat device. So
is it not
this is
the
what's
case,
happening now.
Isn't it not the case, though, Matt, that as any photographer will tell you, it's all about the glass, it's all about the lens. And while they have these ridiculous little small lenses on them, there's only so good a phone camera can be.
Yeah, the lenses you will find in most mobile phones are made by Sony, amazingly. Like, Sony aren't top of the range or not the largest seller by a long way in the marketplace, but most lenses are made by Sony, and the sensors as well. And you'll have people like Carl Zeiss as well, so well-known lens manufacturers are also involved in the manufacture of these different phones, and so yes, you're right. You have a great big
yeah. Well, see, I've got a big old
camera
lens on my camera, and you can't replicate that with any mobile phone.
No, you can't.
You can fake the depth of field, sure, but, shot by shot, you cannot match the bigger lens.
This is where these phones are having to bring, and the buzzword of the year, artificial intelligence. Yeah. So AI is then involved in the construction of these to improve the quality of the images and build in sharpness and rich colours and all of those kind of things that don't actually really exist in the real world with that technology, but it's using other systems as well to help it. So it's all about the camera. Amazingly, a phone is all about the camera.
Here's the thing: the more high definition, the more we realise our eyes aren't quite what they used to be, and the more we realise that actors and actresses don't have the complexion that we once thought they had, because you can see every nook and cranny.
This is it. You look at the news broadcast media when we where you have now makeup teams having to make up these presenters in the morning for morning TV now, or whenever they're doing the news, because they're now broadcasting in HD. Now that's going to then convert into 4K. Yes, so you're suddenly going to have. I'm sure it wouldn't have gone unnoticed how much more glamorous presenters now are on these.
Well, I think it's a good
TV
thing.
shows.
We get to see real people as opposed to made-up people. Matt Porter of Matt Porter Web Design, our Gadget Man, with the update for us this Thursday. Matt, have a great week. We'll see you in a week's time, my friend.
Thank you.